Hi, I'm Daniel Boy. Welcome back to the front row. State property, fine jewelry that's been worn by some of the most famous celebrities and the most influential women in the world. We'll find out who these women are a little later on in our chat. But first, I'd like to welcome the brains and the creators behind the brand State Property to the front row. Welcome. Would you like to introduce yourselves to our audience?
Hi guys. Hi, I'm Afzal,
And I'm reading.
and we're the co-founders of State Property.
What an amazing label. Congratulations. Now let's go all the way to the beginning when there was no state property. What was your inspiration? How did you start? How did you merge your aesthetics? Did you both have similar aesthetics? How tell us, spill the beans.
So Ray was studying contemporary jewelry in Central St. Martin's in the UK, and I was doing product design in NUS here. And we knew each other from before then while we were in school. So towards the end of school, we were trying to figure out what our next steps would be,
Yeah.
and we decided that we'd like to start something together. And that's when we kind of built the idea of state property. So it took us about a year to figure out what we wanted to do. And eventually we decided on fine jewelry. And
And
yeah,
yeah, what was the journey like? As young creatives, starting a new label is not easy. It's not an easy journey. Tell us about that journey.
so of course we were designers first. So when we were starting the business, I think it was really
The
and-
business part was a bit difficult. For
Yeah,
us,
because it was an exercise of passion, of interest as well.
Yeah.
But really, what we wanted to bring to the table was this fine jewelry brand that brought things that we really admired and respected about the past and bring them into the future. So our aesthetics kind of borrow a lot from the geometry and the bold shapes of the Art Deco movement. But we try and figure out how it would exist in today's landscape.
Yeah, I guess our inspiration generally comes from art and science and architecture. We're always trying to find balance between the old and the new, physically about the negative space and the positive space within the pieces, as well as I guess we're always searching for tension between opposites.
Yeah, because I mean, the both of us came from really opposite ends of the design world.
Yeah.
So the collaboration between the two of us as well, it's kind of a tension of opposites as well.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us about the collection that we've just seen. What's your inspiration behind that, and the colors, the shapes? I mean, I know you talked about Art Deco and geometrics, and I see a lot of that in your design as well. So tell us about this collection.
So the collection that we've recently launched is Voyager, and you would have seen pieces within the video that had color, black or white or stripe motifs. And that collection was really inspired by the Voyager spacecrafts. So the two of us, we listen to a lot of podcasts on science and technology and
Yeah.
nature, and that's where the inspiration for the collections came from. So with the Voyager spacecrafts, it was really this idea of adventure, of discovery and exploration. And it was also a kind of introduction for us into this more colorful world, I would say, because previous collections that we did, you would have seen the pieces with pearls as well. They were a lot more classic in terms of colors. There was pearls, there was rose gold, yellow gold, and things like this. But now with the play on enamel, it brings a whole different angle or perspective
Different
to.
dimension
Yeah.
to the pieces. Yeah.
Do you design for women, or do you have pieces for men as well?
So we have pieces for men and women, but we'd like to think that our pieces are masculine enough for guys to wear, but feminine enough for ladies as well. So again, it comes back to this tension of opposites, So I would say the thing that makes it interesting is when someone like a woman wears a piece that's slightly more masculine, then it brings about this point of interest on the edge. And the same with guys, if they wear something a little bit more feminine, that the tension of the opposites is very interesting for us.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of people have said that fine jewelry, the luxury market, is not something that you would associate with an online business. And yet, when we were filming this video, I realized that during the lockdown, you actually did really really well. So, can you tell us what was the impetus behind having the foresight to create an online presence, and tell us about your journey during the lockdown, your adventures during the lockdown.
Adventures during the lockdown, that's what it was. But as a young brand, I think when we started, online was like the digital realm was something really natural for us. So Instagram was something that for us, it was the easiest channel to have a dialogue with our followers. And I think with the circuit breaker, it kind of forced everyone to really look at how we communicate, and for us as well, like we it was during that time when we really realized that Instagram was not just a gallery of beautiful images, but
Yeah.
it was really a conversation.
A dialogue with
Yeah.
our followers, right? Like we can use all sorts of mediums and different ways to interact with our potential clients. We even came up, we had time on our hands, so we came up with quizzes
Yeah.
and fun reference library and things like that we
Just
normally
to
wouldn't do.
Yeah, so in a way, it was having conversation that we would have with one client, but now because it was put in the virtual realm, we could have it with multiple people at the same time, and it was as personal as it was. And I think this really helped us bridge that boundary because buying fine jewelry or the experience of fine jewelry is very intimate. The product itself is an extremely intimate product that you buy generally during milestones and things like this and carry lots of meaning. And the retail experience is no different. So that was really a challenge for us to bridge during the circuit breaker on how to create this closeness with our client to allow to facilitate the sale of fine jewelry.
Well, you did very, very well during the lockdown, so congratulations.
Thank
Now,
you.
State Property is a brand that is sold in some of the world's biggest stores in the world, some of the most influential department stores in the US. Do you think moving ahead with COVID and with the demise of the American department stores and the change of the luxury market, how is that going to impact State Property?
So I think we've started seeing shifts in retail for maybe the past 2 years quite clearly already, with like online retailers growing really big, and the price ceilings for the items that they're selling keep increasing. So even our retailers that take us on in the US, like we've been on their online stores a lot. So on Saks Fifth Avenue, for example, we're primarily on their online store. So
Wow.
with fine jewelry, I think it's really about finding its new space in the virtual realm, and trying to figure out, really bridging the gap. But at the same time, I feel like it's also an opportunity for physical spaces to then um, become slightly different, to kind of have two separate experiences, one for the
Yeah.
virtual world and one for the physical world as well.
Your presence in the US has enabled you to dress some of the most famous women in the world and one of the most influential women in the world, of whom I am a huge, huge fan. You know who I'm talking about. How did all that come about? You know where this is leading.
Yeah, I mean, so for us as well, the moment we were informed that Michelle Obama would be wearing one of our pieces for a TV interview, I think
I was on the floor.
and I think the whole team,
Yeah.
we were so excited, we couldn't sleep.
Yeah.
But when we went into the US market, what we realized was we needed to kind of show them.
We were invested in your market.
Yeah, so we took our pieces to some stylists to kind of put them in front of them, just to kind of get a response. But we were pleasantly surprised that they were really drawn to the pieces,
Yeah.
and they brought it back to the people that they worked for. So whether it was Michelle Obama or Lady Gaga or Taylor Swift and things like this, I think it was a huge boost of confidence, given that in Singapore we feel so far away from the US market, from Hollywood.
Yeah.
But for us to share the same space as the big brands of the world, I think it was really a big boost of confidence for us and for the team as well.
That's fantastic. Congratulations. I was over the moon. I shrieked when I found out. um, okay, as an Asian brand and as a Singapore brand, did you find it harder to market yourselves and to convince people to look beyond that bias, to look at the product? Were there challenges for you as an Asian or a Singapore brand?
I would say Singapore kind of has a good reputation, and also in certain areas it doesn't have much of a reputation. So in certain senses, it was really good for us because it was a blank slate. So there was no like poor impression to fight with. So but in other areas where they find Singapore a very dependable place to of business and basically like where businesses are trustworthy and have integrity, I think that was really a help for us to establish relationships with partners
Yeah.
overseas. And as well as the links that we have, like the trade agreements and also the ease of our communication with different cultures. I would
Yeah.
say being here in Singapore and kind of the bridge between the Western world and the Asian side of the world, we're able to understand like agents in the business culture in Japan, but also because we were so used and exposed to the American culture, it becomes very easy for us to integrate as well, or to fit in, or to see where we stand in that side of of the culture and business as well. So I think actually being a Singapore brand, it gave us this kind of versatility
Yeah.
and adaptability that I would say we were really grateful for.
Yeah, I think one of the proudest moments we've had was when we were shipping out a huge order to Saks Fifth Avenue, and we made this sticker that says "Made in Singapore" and "Designed in Singapore." So that was a big moment for all of us, I think.
Yeah, we try and make sure that we, as a young brand, we know that there are brands that came before us. I mean, you were speaking to Marilyn Tan before,
Yes.
and there's lots of other jewelers as well who've really paved the way for younger jewelers like us
Yeah.
to kind of emerge in this market. Um, and so we feel like it's our responsibility as well to do our part to make sure that the industry and the jewelry scene here continues. Yeah. So our pieces are all made here in Singapore. I mean, besides the ease of transport and communication as well, it really matters to us that we can stand behind the pieces that we've made, and we know and live next to the people who make them, basically.
Yeah.
And you know what? You have certainly done us proud. Wow, Michelle Obama. I keep going back to that. All right, before we wrap up this really interesting interview, let me ask you about your thoughts on sustainability. And you've got a very unusual approach to sustainability, which I think is also something that not many people think about. Everybody, when we mention sustainability, talks about recycling and upcycling, but you have a very unusual approach to sustainability and being a sustainable brand. Tell us about that.
So when we started the brand back in 2015, we were trying to figure out like what would sit comfortably with us as designers and as creators, putting things or like creating more things to introduce into the world. There's so many things around us, and there's so much waste that we needed to find a way to be comfortable with creating new things, basically. So something that Ray brought to the table at that time was this idea of emotion.
Emotional durability.
Exactly. And this was the idea that an object basically has is durable in sustaining your emotion and your feeling towards it. So for something to be relevant in someone's life for a very long time, it's not just about its physical durability, but whether it carries enough meaning to still be worthy of someone keeping possession of it and even passing down to generations in the future. So that was also the reason why we decided on fine jewelry instead of costume accessories or materials that perhaps were not as lasting.
Not as they don't have as long a longevity
Yeah.
as fine materials.
And for us, that was our way of being a little bit more comfortable with introducing new things, because
As young designers, we are very aware of how much things are being produced, right?
yeah, and of where we're coming in at. So
Yes.
I think with that, we wanted to create pieces that if you buy today, the next generation would be able to wear,
Yeah.
and hopefully the generation after. So using gold, using diamonds, using precious gems and metals, as well as designing it in a way which hopefully is a blank enough canvas for our clients to kind of put their own meaning into it without without lacking any personality. So
Yeah.
hopefully finding the balance between putting in enough into a piece but also leaving it
Back to the tension.
of
Again, trying
opposites
to
again.
design up to a point enough, and the other half is letting the client then take over the story.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I can certainly say that if you purchase a state property piece, it's something that you're going to be passing on not just to the next generation, but to the generation after that and after that and after that, because your pieces are really classic, but it hasn't lost that fashion edge. So, if you'd like to know more about state property, or if you'd like to see the full collection, you can have a direct access to the state property website here at the front row. So all you need to do is just click onto designers and you'll be able to find a direct link to state property. Thank you very, very much for joining us here at the
Thank
front
you.
row.
Thanks, Daniel.
For having us.
It was such an amazing video. For those of you who have not followed us yet on our socials, do please follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is thefrontrow.style, at thefrontrow.style. And if you post anything that's related to the front row, do hashtag the front row SG so that we can track it and like your post. And please tell your friends all about the front row and all about the wonderful shows. We've had 3 amazing designer shows today and 2 yesterday. We've got another 8 days of amazing shows. So do join us every single day and let us know what you think of the shows. Let us know what you want to see so that we can try and curate a better festival for you coming for the next edition of the front row. But in the meantime, I do hope you enjoy all the content that we put together for you, all the designers that are showing. My name is Daniel Boy. See you again at the front row.